also, before I get into the next segment, I really want to bring this to light because this is something very serious. I think it's something that a lot of people need to know about, especially within the Toronto hip hop community and just within the GTA community altogether, because this kind of transcends music as well. So there is a very popular artist within the GTA. He goes by the name of John River. Exceptional artist, very talented, very young as well, only 23 years of age. He's been very quiet as far as social media is concerned for several months, and much to our surprise, the public, we did not know that he was going through some sort of ailment. He made this very public a couple months ago, but then he, on behalf of his mother, actually, his mother is the one who took control of his Twitter account, spoke on behalf of him and gave us details last night. This happened last night, actually. And I was just reading this on my way home, just on the train and what have you. And like, it just took over my timeline. I read the entire story, the entire thread. And I was, I felt so many emotions, but I was heartbroken. I was confused. I was angry, just based on what his mother was talking about on behalf of him. And basically, from what I gathered, he's been going through a lot physically. Like he has some sort of condition. I can't remember the name of it. I believe it's called CSR. If I'm wrong, please correct me on that. But it's a very rare condition. And basically, from what she was describing, he was having a lot of trouble breathing. Like his heart was failing him a few times. It was hard for him to breathe. He couldn't catch his breath. He lost wind. He fainted on multiple occasions. His eyesight became so sensitive that he had to sit in dark rooms on a regular basis so that he wouldn't get migraines. He had ear infections. And then every time he had to go to the doctors for an appointment or to get looked at, majority of them told him that, oh, it was just anxiety, that he'll be fine. He's just overworked and overstressed. There's even one account where they're describing about how they took him to a psychiatric ward to check him out to see if he was crazy or if he was going through depression or anything like that. And at the end of the day, like, these doctors have a responsibility to do a thorough investigation as far as the symptoms and what he's going through, and just trust the patient and what he or she is saying. And I feel like these doctors who saw him were very negligent. And there was also one account where there was a doctor who injected some sort of spine-related fluid into his body to see what the issue was. And a few days later, there was a spinal fluid leak, basically. So it was just adding one issue onto another, essentially. And just reading this made me very angry, and it just made me think about our healthcare system. Yes, it's free, and I get that, but even though it's free, we still demand the top-notch doctors and physicians to look after our patients, basically, because our patients are the ones who contribute to society. So reading that, it just brought me to a point where, stuff like this needs to be mentioned more. And for me, I'm not the most well-versed person when it comes to healthcare and medical concerns, but at the same time, I do have a platform, and I've had the pleasure of having John River on my platform before. It was about 2 years ago, actually. And at the end of the day, the most I can do at the very least is bring awareness to what's happening in this particular situation. At the end of the thread, there was an email to be contacted by any physician or anyone who can actually help him in his situation as far as getting the right medical attention and the right information as far as how to overcome this. So the email address that was left behind was letssavejohn@gmail.com. So for anyone who has seen this thread or who is listening to me bloviate about this particular topic right now or later on when they find us on YouTube or on SoundCloud or what have you. Basically, the symptoms he's going through is heavy breathing. He feels as though he has like a collapsed rib of some sort, or an injured rib. Very sensitive eyesight. His vision is very blurry right now, and he can't hear properly. If you guys know any of those combined symptoms, please send your information to letssavejohn@gmail.com, because that is a young individual who needs our help. He's very vital not only to the music community within Toronto, within Canada, but also just a patron of Mississauga, basically. Like, he does his part in providing for the community. So please, let's send that information to him and his representatives as soon as possible. And I hope nothing but the best for John River. He is a talented artist and that much more of a better human being altogether. So please, let's give this young man our support and many people like him who are going through the scenario right now. Woo!